Hey, what's going down? Okay, so I just wanted to get on here and share some stuff with y'all because I know I just be getting on here and talking and y'all don't really be knowing what's going on with me, but everything that I have been teaching y'all so far, I don't tell y'all anything that I don't do myself. So recently I myself did a source web, and like I mentioned before, inner child work is very, very, very important. Um, I learned a lot about myself in doing the inner child work, especially doing the source web this morning. I noticed that I have a lot of issues with um, getting attention. I love to strive to get people to validate me, or I did. And it all rooted back to childhood. I had a lot of people in my life who didn't give me the attention that I felt I deserved. Didn't really validate me or congratulate me or celebrate me in the way that I felt that I should have been celebrated. As a result of that, I spent most of my life trying to get that validation and approval from other people. Or I go straight to people who I feel would give me that validation. Let me show you how deep this inner child stuff goes. Because of that experience as a kid, as an adult, and even as a teenager, mostly as a teenager, I struggled so much with getting people to listen to me or talk to me, or even want to hear what I have to say. I'm usually the dump. I'm usually the person that people come to when they want to just spill their guts out, and not necessarily to listen to anything that I have to say, or even letting me vent myself and get some things off my chest, or even be heard in any way. Most of the time, it's people coming up to me and just venting, and there's no problem with that. Like, I am literally on this planet to be a help and to listen to other people. However, in my teachings, I teach what I am experiencing or what I have experienced. And a lot of things stemmed from that one thing, that lack of validation and attention that I didn't get growing up. So one of those things that it causes a lot of jealousy issues. I had a lot of problem with seeing other people get the validation and the love and attention that I felt that I deserved. And from that, it caused me to also do that to other people, with people who were just like me growing up, who didn't get the attention that they felt that they deserved as a kid. They try to get that attention from me, and I kind of like ignore it, or I don't give it to them just because that's what was done to me my whole life. And that's also a problem because I can't be a healer and be a teacher if I'm not doing the things that I say that y'all should do. So with that source web, I learned a lot about myself and a lot about how my childhood impacted a lot of the ways that I think and a lot of the actions that I have made, or a lot of the actions that I don't really see. This full moon that we're in, or we're in, brings up a lot of energy, things that you're supposed to see within yourself and be willing to correct within yourself. And I had to do a heart check this morning because I found myself feeling a certain type of way. And I realized too that just by feeling that way, it's blocking everything that I've manifested so far, everything that I've worked so hard for. I'm blocking it by still holding on to those old ways of thinking, not really acknowledging the fact that I do some of the things that I criticize other people for. But once I really went back and did that heart check and really checked myself, everything kind of became clear to me. Everything kind of opened up. with this transformation that I discussed with y'all earlier, it is very deep in the person that I'm becoming now. I have to feed and love and care for the version of myself that didn't get the things that I give to other people and sometimes don't give to other people. Sometimes I also overextend attention. Sometimes I give so much attention and so much love to other people that I drain myself in the process. And a lot of people come to me to vent, and sometimes not understanding that I don't have it sometimes. I need to recharge. I need to take a minute and get in my own thoughts and not be taking in everybody else's problems all the time. I'm not saying that you shouldn't come to me or that you shouldn't talk to me, but sometimes if I shut down or if I'm just not vocal or participating or as silly as I normally am, it's usually just that I'm having a moment where I need to reevaluate myself and kind of get realigned, as I like to say, or as I've heard a friend of mine say that I really like that. So get an alignment. I had to get an alignment in order to give you the energy that you're looking for. But definitely doing the work is an endless process. And just when you think that you've done all the work and you have healed something, you fixed something completely, it comes right back up to you just to test you to make sure that you're really over it or that you really healed from it. And healing doesn't always happen like suddenly. It happens like over years' time, over months' time. Like it's not really a time frame on when healing is completed. But there are certain signs that will show you that you have completely healed from something. One of the things or signs that will let you know that you have not completely healed from something is that it still makes you feel a certain type of way when it comes up. Or it triggers you in some kind of way. Makes you feel certain ways about other people sometimes, yourself sometimes, and you kind of project that energy outwards. So the best thing for me was to go within and figure out what the inner problem was and then correct that itself. Take some time and do some work and try to fix or change the parts of me that I am not a huge fan of. Honestly, it takes a lot for me to even get up here and talk to y'all about anything that I go through personally. But like I said, I can't help y'all heal and not tell y'all that I'm doing everything that I'm telling y'all to do. I'm not just getting up here and just talking because I can. I'm getting up here because I learned that the best way to teach people is through experience and them seeing me go through it and seeing how I'm coming out of it and seeing that, yes, I smile all the time, but I go through things too. So right now I'm just gathering all of my things and thinking about all of the stuff that I need to work on in myself and progressing as best as I can. I would definitely recommend that you all get grounded. Spend some time outside, like one of my favorite people says, Nina says, grounding. I have been doing a lot of that. A lot of time outside, a lot of sitting in the grass, a lot of tree hugging and sightseeing and watching the world, just enjoying the planet for the beautiful thing, the beautiful rock that it is. Finding the beauty in everything, finding the beauty in small things. However, that goes into another thing that I learned. Being happy all the time. That's also a learned behavior from my childhood. I wasn't really allowed to express emotions, express myself. I was given a voice and I didn't find my own voice. As a result of that, it makes me put on this facade, this face of an inauthentic version of myself. Not saying that I'm not a happy person, because I am, but that's not who I am all the time. And realizing that sometimes you have to take those moments and be human. Sometimes you have to take those minutes or moments or whatever and just fucking cry and just let that shit go and stop trying to hold it in and be strong for everybody. That's bullshit. You just breaking yourself down when you do that. And I have to learn to be vulnerable with others. I do not like sharing personal feelings or emotions, because it was always portrayed as weakness to me to speak how I felt, to express the dramatic emotions, quote unquote dramatic emotions, that I was feeling every time I expressed them, but I wasn't allowed to. I was very caged as a kid. I had to learn to swallow my personality in order to blend, and I wasn't really allowed to stand out the way that I was meant to. So in that, because I am transforming into a different version of myself, even as a kid though, I had a moment where I was extremely vocal, to the point that I was just cussing everybody out and telling everybody about themselves. And then I went into a phase where I didn't say shit to anyone, and I just let people say whatever and do whatever. In this part of my life, I'm trying to learn the balance between the two. So I've had a lot of instances where I've had to confront someone or have a conversation with a person that I didn't necessarily care for, and learning how to have conversations with people that I don't necessarily agree with, and understanding where they are and understanding where I am, and just accepting that for what it is. Some people just don't change, and I understand that, and I can't make anyone change. But I can't go my whole life just cutting people off and not giving them an opportunity to improve or show me that what I think is their intention is not necessarily their intention. Just like, how can I want people to see me for the new version of myself, the version of myself that I worked so hard to become, and this new way of life and this new way of thinking, and thinking that I've become a better person, because I wasn't a good person. I was not always a good fucking person. But I can't expect everybody to see that in me and see my growth and see how much I've changed, and then I don't do that for other people. I just assume that they're that same old person that they used to be. But if someone does show you that they are that person, believe them. However, you're not gonna have anybody in your life you cut everybody off at the snap of a finger just because they did something that you didn't really approve of. Sometimes you have to give people a chance to learn something new and learn that, okay, this isn't okay. I didn't know that was a problem that I have. And you tell them that, and then they work to improve on it. Then that's something that you should probably hold on to, and at least give them a chance to continue to do that. But if you just cut them off the second that they stop doing something, or they did something that you don't like, so you're like, fuck them, that doesn't really teach them anything, and it doesn't really teach you anything either, because you may have lost out on a good person just because of something that you still holding on to, some version of that person that you still believe that they are, that makes you more comfortable with who they are. That's not really fair. And then you want people to see that you're not the same person. That doesn't make sense. If you haven't been like 5 different people in the last 7 to 10 years, something's up. You should probably do a self-evaluation and change, or just think about some of the things that you do or say and evaluate. Just look at yourself, because you should be evolving. You should be getting better, or at least acknowledging some of the things that you do that are not helpful to others. But if you don't have the courage to hold yourself accountable, then you won't change. You have to be willing to check yourself. You have to be willing to look at yourself and be like, damn, okay, I did feel this way a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. Like, okay, I do feel that way. So let me go and figure out what is causing that to happen and why this is the way it is and why I'm feeling this way. Okay, so this is what I feel. This is why I feel this way. Okay, what can I do to make this better? In my case, what I'm going to start doing is giving myself the love that I so desperately desire. Granted, I am getting love from my wife, and she helps me tremendously with every step of my growth, literally. And even this morning when I was talking to her about it, she helped me through it. She helped me understand everything and where it was coming from and why I was feeling that way, and even helped her find some stuff about herself. So I said all that to say, do that inner child work. It's going to be brutal, because you're going to have to face yourself and admit some things about yourself that you may not necessarily want to hear or tell yourself, but who better to tell you than you or God? Sometimes the things that we need to hear are not necessarily comfortable for us to hear. They're not necessarily exciting, but tough love is a beautiful thing. It can be harsh depending on where you're getting it from, even if you're giving it to yourself. But it's necessary. So make sure that you are tapping into who you are. Make sure you're tapping in and checking with that child version of yourself and seeing what that version of yourself needs. Because that is the purest version of you, your childhood, your inner child. If you don't love that part of you, then you're just gonna be an angry, fucking bitter ass human being in your adulthood. You have to show that child love. And if you don't, it's gonna show in your actions, how you react to people, what you say to people, the people you bring up in the world. All that stuff is going to affect them. So make sure that you're doing that work. And that's all I got for now. Have a good day.